All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. Sorry we're running a little bit late. I'm running late. B-Dub was ready. He's been ready since like 6. I've had a bit of a crazy day, though. But it's going to be a good slate. I kind of like the way it's setting itself up. How are you feeling about things, man?
Yeah, I like it so far too. We definitely got some huge news right before we went live with Tom Lord out, so that changes things drastically. So I'm not mad about it either. So I was getting a little worried about him slightly at almost 5K. So
Yeah. It would have been a
might be a
fun
blessing in
play
disguise.
in a soft matchup. But with him being 5K, his minutes weren't that consistent. I'm kind of glad we don't have that chalk anymore.
Yeah.
But we'll get to it. Jules, Wilder, John, Cujo, good to see you guys. Per usual, we'll go game by game. Only a 4-game slate today. We'll talk through what we're doing. B-Dubs is sharing his screen. I'll talk through my thoughts. And then we'll wrap up answering any questions. And if any make sense along the way, we'll touch on those too. First things first, we have the Clippers going up against the Rockets. Probably the ugliest game on the slate. Lowest total. Spreads at 9 points. Clippers going up against the Rockets here. Rockets typically aren't a team that we like to pick on too much. Clippers are pretty healthy at this point. Any of these guys stand out for you, or what's your approach here?
First I'll lead out by saying that I'm doing 20 max, so I will try to throw in like different plays that I would do if I were doing 150 as well. But for my 20 max, I'm only taking 2 shots here. I put a 15% min on Zubac. Um, we know he has a 50 to 60 point upside potential, so I wanted to take a shot on a small slate here. I think he matches up well against the Rockets, and 7,200 is just a good price. So willing to play him at this ownership. Harden is again another high upside player, one of the highest upside guys behind Jokic. Um, he can be a little inconsistent at times, but I'm just taking a shot at 12%. Collins, if I was doing 150, I would throw a 10% min on him. Very volatile player, but 4,900 on a 4-gamer and playing around 30 minutes. Worth a shot because you never know. And then same for Kawhi. I would throw a 10% if I were doing 150, but just didn't get there at that price. He needs about 49.50 to make value, and he's kind of been hovering around the lower 40s. So uh, don't like the matchup enough to attack him. And then Dunn is another volatile value guy. You can throw a 5% man if you're doing 150, but didn't get there in my 20 mix.
Yeah, I don't love this team. I don't love the matchup. I don't love the total, but everyone's thinking that way. So for me, I'm 150 maxing. It's usual. My usual approach here is just kind of like, I don't hate having some exposure to the game that everyone else is looking to avoid, even though they're looking to avoid it for completely logical reasons. I have a 15% min on Harden and a 15% min on Zubac, and just kind of called it a day. I understand the Leonard play. I understand the Collins play at 4,900 and Chris Dunn. I think you're right. Those are all viable plays. Just not guys I'm getting to on this one. Other side of this game is the Rockets, and they're another team who they just don't have a ton of new injury news, so relatively healthy going up against a team I don't love to pick on in the Clippers too often. They're all low owned is the enticing thing here. You taking any shots?
Yeah, I wish I liked this team a bit more, but the problem is everybody's just so priced up, and I just don't see much value here. I just don't like this game overall, and this was one team where I just kind of took a stand on, and I just told myself I'm not forcing in any. Could bite me, but again, you can't really play everybody,
Yeah,
especially if you're doing 20 lines.
true.
150, I mean, you got your usual guys. I think Jabari is a solid mid-range guy. Plays a ton. Not always the most consistent, but wouldn't be surprised if he ended up in the nuts. We all know what Shingun can do. He has triple double upside and uh, can definitely break the slate. Amin and KD don't reach value enough for me to like them, but I wouldn't talk anybody out of playing them. And that's probably the only 4 guys I would play. I usually like playing Reed, but he's still priced up a bit too high for the role he's playing. If he was down in the 4K range, I wouldn't mind a shot on him too. But yeah, just the top 4 guys if you were want to take a shot.
Yeah. Did you John's asking any love for Holiday as like a value min guy? Did you consider him at all?
No. I'm usually on the fence about him when he's in the 3K range. So at 4,100, he's a pretty easy fade for me.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'm not even thinking about that at this price range.
Yeah.
Wagwan, Kevin, good to see you, man. The only thing I did here, I put a 10% min on Şengün. I am hoping, I haven't looked back and checked, that he's primarily showing up in that power forward slot. I do like that he has that versatility there, but not really looking to make him a huge priority or anything. Same thing with the rest of this team. I'm just really focusing on the stars in these low total games. They're usually the guys who can pop off. It's usually not the role players too much. So it's Şengün, Harden from the other game or for the other side of this game, and then Zubac. Next game is also not one that looks too great, but you can still find some hidden gems here. We have the Celtics going up against the Bucks. For the Celtics tonight, Boston, no new injury news, which just makes these teams really boring for the most part. But looks like you're still taking some shots here on Simons and Brown. What stands out for them for you?
Yeah, Brown, I put a 10% min on just due to the form he's in. His price is definitely getting up there, so we definitely need 60 plus out of him. But I think like the last 6 or 7 games, he's put up at least 50 fantasy points. So if he can just do a little more, he can definitely still reach value and love the ownership in the matchup as well. So definitely taking a shot there. And then Simons is just a low owned value play that I like taking a shot on. His minutes can be a little concerning, but we know when his shot is falling and he gets hot, he can definitely sneak in the nuts for sure. And again, I do like this matchup too. And if it gets ugly pretty soon, he could potentially get some extra run towards the end. And then I did put a 5% min on Walsh. He's just in great form, playing a ton. So again, another low on value play, throw in the mix. And then I am getting 25% Kada, didn't do anything there. Another solid mid-range guy who's in great form. And I was getting a little bit of Pritchard earlier, but looks like he fell out. Not against Pritchard or White, but I don't love him enough to force him in.
Yeah, I get it. Like Pritchard's been solid, but it's been pretty hit or miss for when he'll have those ceiling games. Jaylen Brown, it seems like his floor is 50 points now, which means he's still a little too cheap for the production he's been having recently. And his ceiling has been in like that 60, 70 point range. And it could be even higher if the game can stay competitive. So let's see, what min do you have on him?
10.
Yeah. I have a 10% min, but I was thinking about increasing it to 15 just because I do like this spot for him. I am going to put a 15% min on him. Simons, I just haven't seen enough upside from him. It's weird because I liked Simons at the start of this season, but it's been Walsh who's actually been showing more signs of life and ceiling, and they're in the same price range. So I'll put a 10% min on Walsh, and then Kada, he shows up a good amount by himself, probably around, or he is showing up in 38% of my lineups right now, but that will continue to adjust as I continue to run lines. And then I'm with you, Pritchard and White. I'm just kind of trusting the DS on. I'm not overly passionate about them enough to force exposure, even though they both have shown signs of life in the last few games. JP83 said, "Is Queen just a lock and move on?" We'll get there. We gotta take our time. We still have time.
I'll give you a sneak peek.
It looks like we're pretty damn close to it, at least for Brandon. For the Bucks side of this game, going up against Boston, Milwaukee, Giannis is out, so that does impact things pretty dramatically. Like makes things pretty soft still for like Porter and Rollins to still perform. And then the guys who are very inconsistent and like Kuzma and Portis and even Jericho Sims are more fringe plays, but are slightly more viable. Do you like anyone from this game, or who's standing out for you?
Yeah, really is just Kevin Porter Jr. for me. He continues to show he's pretty much the guy when Giannis is out. He's resurrected his career and is just looking amazing right now. I do worry slightly about the price increase, but the form he's in, he's still too cheap for how he's performing. He was popping up quite a bit, but fell slightly down to 45%. So still over the field in a decent. I'm happy with that amount. So nothing too crazy there. If I were doing 150, I wouldn't mind shots on Portis. He hasn't been that great, and for whatever reason, he's just not getting a lot of runs, sticking around 20 minutes. So be careful if you do go there and know the risk with how much he's been playing. And then Rollins, I wouldn't mind taking a shot on either. Nothing crazy, like maybe like a 10% min, especially if you're trying to get different from Kevin Porter. I do think Porter has higher upside, but we've seen Rollins have great games as well. So it's a little tougher for him to do that now with Porter in the mix, but anything can happen. You never know. So don't hate that shot either. And everybody else is trash. I can't get there.
Real, so real. Man, these
Do it.
teams are finally letting the young guys run. And
Yeah.
that's what KPJ is right now. He's doing everything for this team. 7,600 is a little pricey, but it's still worth it for me here. With just the high usage rate, the high points per minute, the high minutes. He has been volatile before in the past, but he's been pretty consistent so far the last few games. And so I'm going to trust that for him and trust their game plan here. And he's a core play for me right now. I'm above 60+%. Literally I'm at 71%, but that will fluctuate as I continue to make changes. I do agree with you. Ryan Rollins is a viable pivot. It's just not one I'm willing to make on this slate. But I don't think you're crazy if you decide to do that. All right. This is where the games start to get a bit more interesting. We have high totals, 242. This game has a close spread at 4 points. Portland going up against the Pelicans. For Portland tonight, they are... Oh, wrong team. Portland, we have Klingen out, which is big, which was why people were interested in Robert Williams. Then we got the news that Robert Williams is out, per usual. And now we're looking at guys like Reith, Grant. There's a ton of just like random cheap centers because we just have like, what are they going to do here, Brandon? How do you see it playing out?
I mean, it would make sense for Reith to start, but they've done crazy things before, like putting Grant at the 5 and then moving somebody else up. So honestly, it's hard to tell. I am happy to see Reith's projection. I got a little boost. It was at 17, now it's at 20. So I'm sure when I rerun, he'll probably show up as a core play now, which
He will.
I'll feel better if we get him in the starting line. If not, I might play him with a little caution because, again, this is one of those teams that just does weird things with their lineup. So,
Yeah. If
uh,
he doesn't start, which, like you mentioned, would not shock me, I'm still going to play a ton of him.
yeah,
It just makes him more risky. But at his price tag, I think people were even considering him before Williams was out, just because he will still be out there and he'll have more minutes. And the matchup is so soft against the Pelicans. I love Queen just as much as the next guy, but defense is not his strong suit. So you can pick on this front court. And like you said, right now, I have a ton of these guys showing up. Who else are you liking?
yeah, Avi is the obvious. I mean, we've seen him like put up 70, 80 points before in the past. So definitely playing quite a bit of him. I haven't reran yet, but currently at 60%. I love Grant. He's playing way too good for him to be this cheap at 6,300. Somebody with 50-point upside, and now with Time Lord out, he's going to play a ton, and is in one of the softest matchups you can ask for. So he's going to be somebody I'm pretty much all in on as well. Pretty close to it. I think I was at 90%. I know 100%. So yeah, I'm okay with doing that on this slate. Shaden Sharp, he's a little up and down, but he's another guy with 50-point upside. So 6,700 against the Pelicans. Not going to think too much about it. Kamara, I thought I had him in on him, but just with all the guys that they're missing, he's somebody who can get you 30 to 40 points. So 6,200. I want some of him. We talked about Reith already. And then I threw a 5% man on Chris Murray. He's just another turd I wanted to get in the mix, and should see a lot of run, especially with Time Lord out. I trust him a little bit more than any of these other guys down here. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, you just look at the Trailblazers tonight and you see my lineups. I have 95% exposure to Grant. He's going to be a core play. Reith, I have 91% of. If he doesn't start, I will probably want to stay in that like 50-ish% range. Denny Avdia, I have 84% of, and then Shaden Sharp, I have 79% of. Like I said, this is just my lineups tonight. And then Kamara, I don't have a min on, but he's showing up in 13% of my lineups. I like that. If he falls below 10%, I'll just put a 20% min or a 17% min on him to make sure he shows up in some lineups. And then that's pretty much it. I don't hate the Chris Murray call. I just didn't get there, but I do understand that. All right. Next side of this game, we have the Pelicans. I feel like we have this team on every slate, but I'm not mad about it. I am not mad at it. For the Pelicans, no real new injury news, but we like Derek Queen again, per usual. But you have a ton. Why as much love as you have for him tonight?
So before we even got the Time Lord news, I'm thinking like a logical person here. This guy just put up a triple-double last game. There's no way like they go back to what they were doing before where they were messing with his minutes.
Yeah, you would think.
That's the logic I went with.
Yeah.
But now Time Lord is out. The defense down low is already struggling, but that's pretty much like their like last resort. Him being out, I think Derek Queen's gonna smash here. So threw a good old smiley face on him. I could have just hit the lock button, but I wanted to go with the smiley face tonight. So
Yeah.
I will have 100% of him tonight.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead. Keep going.
Herbert Jones has been playing really well too. Pretty sure he's popping on the sim model. 4,400 should see close to 30 minutes, 20% min there. Murphy, I'm a little more worried about him, especially with Poole back in the mix because we know how Poole is. He chuck up all the shots, but hopefully Murphy can still get his because we've seen it time after time. When Zion's out, he gets his shots up. When he's hot, he can get you 50 points. So I'm willing to take a shot there. If I was playing 150, I would throw a 10% min on Bay, but just decided not to get there on my 20 max. He hasn't been bad, but since he's been closer to 7K, he really hasn't shown much upside to pay this price off. And then everybody else is pretty much a fade for me, especially with pullback.
Yeah. For me, where I'm at, I am playing 150 lineup, so I can be a little bit more loose with who I put men's on. I have a 20% min on Herb Jones for the reasons you mentioned. He's just been in good form. He's 4,400. He's really just another value guy. I'm keeping in the mix. Can't trust him, but he's shown some upside. 15% min on Sadiq Bey. He's been struggling. Him and Murphy, they haven't really been coming through for us recently when it comes to DFS, but highest total, close spread. I'm going to attack that heavy each time. So I have a 15% min on both of those guys. And then Derek Queen, man, we hit on this on Monday. That was freaking awesome. And going back to it, earlier today, I was just doing some math. I was like, how much should he be? And I'll start to think about playing Derek Queen when he's around 7,900 or something close to that. But until then, I'm just going to keep loading up. He will burn us on occasion. That's just going to be what happens. His minutes are going to fluctuate, even though that's stupid and they shouldn't. But until he's 7,900, he's going to be a leverage play. So he's a leverage play for me tonight. I have a 50% min on him. And I thought about locking him, but I like my cores right now. So
one thing I did forget about him too that made me do it is this right here.
yeah.
If he was center only, I probably wouldn't be doing it, but you can play him at power forward too. So once I saw that, I was like, yeah, I'm going all in.
That helps a lot. The only problem for me is like there's Grant there still at the power forward spot. We haven't gotten to the Kings yet, but Clifford's there too.
Yeah.
So 50% gives me really good leverage. Not bad at it. And locking him too, I think it still makes a lot of sense too. I just like to have a little bit of flexibility. If you're 20 maxing though, I think that's the right approach to go with. So yeah, I think that's kind of like the difference there is like when you're 20 maxing, it makes way more sense to lock someone and go heavier on one play, even if there is risk. Whereas when you're 150 maxing, you don't have to go quite as heavy on it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good call out. And so yeah, I really like the Pelicans. We like that game a lot. Next game is still good. We have the Nuggets going up against the Kings, 239.5 point total, 10-point spread, which is the widest spread on the slate for good reason. This game shouldn't be too close for too long. But for Denver tonight, no new injury news. And they have the soft matchup against the Kings. Who are you attacking with here?
So my manual changes first, put a 20% min on Hardaway Jr. He's just another value play who's in great form, playing close to 30 minutes, putting up around 30 fantasy points multiple times recently. Just makes a lot of sense in this spot and at his price. Watson, he's another up and down guy, but again, I love the matchup. He's playing a ton of minutes. So I want some exposure on a small slate. Another sim model play for me too. He's one of the higher ones listed on there. Jamal Murray, we know what he can do. I feel like he always goes low owned, and then when he puts up 50, 60 points, everyone's wishing they played him. So just trying to cover my bases there on a small slate. And then Jokic, I surprisingly didn't do anything with, and I don't think I'm getting any. Not saying he's a bad play, but he needs, I think, like 80 points to pay this price off, and he can definitely do that, but I don't think he needs to do that in this spot. So could burn me, but with the other centers we have on the slate, willing to take that chance. Definitely not against it. And then I am getting a little bit of Joe Val. He's very chalky, which I guess I get because he's a great points per minute, guys, and he can get you around 20 points. So that's perfect at his price. But I definitely do not like that ownership. So
yeah, I mean, he just might not play more than 10 minutes too.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of risk there. I'm with you on a lot of this. I'm playing 150 lineup, so I put a 10% min on Jokic. It's kind of hard to make happen, but there is enough value where it's not impossible. He does have to, like you said, hit around 80 points, fantasy points, and he has the upside for it. Kings are the worst rebounding team in the league. Jokic should have an easy double-double. We just need the assist to be there, which is why I like the rest of this team tonight too. And if you realize, I didn't have a lot of mins in the early games because I'm really just trying to force that in these last two games. The early games, I just naturally have exposure to them because the DS likes them. E-Money, what's up, man? Eric Moyer. Kita, he shows up in roughly like 30-35% of our lineups. My last run, he's showing up around 24%. So around field weight exposure, he's fine. Nothing too crazy. Let's see. But yeah, I have a 10% min on Jokic, 10% min on Murray. I'm following you on that Murray play. I wasn't really on him until you mentioned it, but I think that was a really good call out, especially at low ownership. Watson, 15% min, slightly over the field because the sim model liked him. And then Cam Johnson, I have a 20% man on. Honestly, that's just because I can't give up on him yet. I can't give up on him. He's shown some signs of life here recently too, but honestly, like the usage rate's low. He's a low points per minute player. I'm really just kind of betting on the form and the soft matchup, but he's not someone I would force exposure to in like a 20 max or anything. It's really just kind of like a gut feel there. And then 20% min on Tim Hardaway Jr. Sim likes him, and it's a good spot, good price tag. And then let's see, Joval is showing up in 19% of my lineups. I don't really want to be over the field on him, but I'm okay with 19%.
You ready to hear this Portland starting line?
Go ahead. What did it look like?
Avdia, Sharp, Kamara, Grant, Murray at the 5.
Chris Murray at the 5? Oh man! Oh,
I had a feeling. That's why I forced them in. I told you
Yep.
they do some crazy stuff. So
yeah, you're on that Chris Murray. I'll have some Murray exposure at 4K. I'll have some of that for sure. For sure, they're gonna get so weird with rotations. Someone's gonna get pissed off.
Just be careful. Like I don't know how much Reith I'm gonna play, but they are so weird with their centers. Like I don't understand their logic, but
it is not safe. That is for sure. But like, let's see, like how much do you think Chris Murray plays? 28, 30 minutes. They might play Grant at the 5, a decent amount too. Let me look at something right quick. Portland.
They really don't have any other options. So I don't know how Reith doesn't give at least solid minutes off the bench. But
yeah, because like last game we saw him play 19 minutes against Memphis, and that was with who was out that game? Klingon. Klingon was out that game. So you would imagine with Robert Williams out, who also played 30 minutes that last game, like those 30 minutes have to go somewhere. Where was Chris Murray at? Chris Murray. He played 21 minutes last game, so they're going to use him at the 5. Maybe they'll just boost his minutes up to like 30, so that's 9. So it still leaves like 20-ish minutes around for them to float to some other guys. So it definitely does make me more interested in Chris Murray, but I'm not giving up on Reith. It's scary, but I'm just hoping that makes less people play him. We'll see. Reith isn't starting. Murray is instead. Y'all called it. I said Chris Murray was going to be the low-owned pivot from Reith. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting spot. Murray definitely won't be low-owned anymore, but we'll get to him. Let's finish and wrap things up with the Kings, because it's still another team that you should probably see throwing up a decent amount in your lineups. Sacramento, Zach LaVine is out. Nick Clifford is going to start for him. With LaVine out, we see usage increases to guys like Westbrook, DeRozan, and even Keegan Murray. So not a terrible spot for this team tonight. For them to win, that's terrible. But I mean, from a DFS perspective, these guys don't look awful. What was your approach here, Brandon?
Some manual changes first. I threw a 30% man on DeRozan just because I like his price, 6,500, and no LaVine. I would hope he can kind of show some of what he used to do in previous seasons. Neat Clifford, I threw a love on. He has not been that great whatsoever, but again, no LaVine. He should play a ton, only 3,500. Can play him at power forward and small forward. I'm going to take my chances, especially if you're playing Jokic. You need guys like him who are super cheap and play a lot of minutes. So he's a core play for me at 60% right now. Westbrook, I was getting a lot, but he dropped down. Where did he go? 25. I'm okay with throwing a 30% man on him. I wish he was a bit cheaper, but given the situation, especially going against the team he was just on, I think this could be one of those games where he kind of just racks up everything and smashes in the spot. So not going to fade him or anything. Monk, I didn't have to do anything either. Let's see where he dropped quite a bit, but I also don't love him enough to force him in. He's so volatile, especially in a 20 max. I'm okay being under there. If Diaz gives me more, I'm okay with it as well. As long as I don't go too high on him, above 30%, I'm fine with that. That might be it for me. If I was doing 150, I would probably take a shot on Keegan. He's a great shooter and another one of those guys where if they're falling, they're gonna continue to find him, and he has some decent upside for his price. So definitely don't mind that shot on 150.
Yeah, I'm trying to fall out of love with this team because loving the Kings just never goes well. But man, I like them tonight. I think for me, there's a few things that stand out the most, and it's really just the price tag on these guys without Zach LaVine. Russell Westbrook, 8K. That's something I want to be all over. He wasn't showing up enough for me, so I had to put a 40% min on him. Keegan Murray, I'm with you. I do think he could be a little sneaky here, so I put a 10% min on him since I am 150 maxing. DeMar DeRozan was only showing up below field weight, and he isn't someone who has shown us a lot of life when it comes to ceiling performances so far this season. So there's a huge ass risk, and we're not getting low ownership on him, but he is still 6,500. I do still like this spot. If they can find some way to keep this game competitive, I do expect it to be one of, if not more, of like Westbrook, DeRozan, Monk is kind of how I'm envisioning it. And I like to play games as if they're going to stay close because that's usually helped me more than it's hurt me. So 30% min on DeRozan. And then Reynaud is scary because he's only center eligible. He wasn't great last time out. He disappointed a lot of people. But I always go back to guys who disappoint me. So I have a 10% min on him, knowing that it looks stupid. Honestly, it looks really dumb. It's hard to find a great reason to play him besides the fact he burnt me last time out. And then Malik Monk, I like a lot on this slate. You can really just look at Malik Monk's game logs, and it really doesn't matter who he's going up against. As long as he sees 29 to 30 minutes, he's almost a lock for 40-plus fantasy points. That's just consistent for this season, last season. I like this spot for him. And the minutes are hard to trust, but with Zach LaVine being ruled out, I'll take a shot on him being and playing 30-plus minutes. If this game blows out, all of these plays are going to fail. So, I'm not playing for a blowout there. So 30% min on him. And then Clifford, I'm more indifferent on just because he's such a low usage guy. But I did put a 40% min on him just because he's so cheap. So I feel like a madman because I just forced exposure to these last two games so much. And I was just like, hey, DS, figure out the start of these games outside of the star players. But it's kind of an approach I like. Anything else you want to add with these Kings? Have I lost it? Am I going crazy?
No, I don't think so at all.
Okay, good. Terrence, man, I appreciate you for joining and becoming a member. If you all could like the show, that would be awesome because no one ever does that. Or if you are interested in having access to the Domination Station and kind of seeing how we do things, you can click the link in the description, use promo code BDUB for a 10% discount. And then you can also ask questions in the Discord. I know I ignored some people today. That's not my usual, but we have a ton of really good coaches who can give you advice on using these tools appropriately in ways to help you. So that's pretty much it. I don't see any new questions. John asked if we're rolling with Westbrook again. I think the answer for both of us is yes. There's a very high chance this game gets out of hand early, but if it doesn't, I think these guys might be a little bit lower owned than we think. I guess we can touch back on the Portland game again, just kind of confirm how we're treating these guys. I know you're a little nervous about Reith. How are you kind of planning on shaping things up from a lineup perspective?
Keep an eye on ownership. I don't know if it'll change much more than what it's at, but I might just keep him around there, maybe like 40 to 50%. I don't know if I want him as a core play. I think this is pretty accurate. At least 20 minutes, he should be good, but I just don't trust this team when it comes to their rotation. So
Eric's saying Trent starting. Is he talking about Gary Trent Jr.?
yep. Yeah, I don't think that will change much for me.
Yeah.
Maybe like 10%. I don't know if I'll do it on my 20 max, but I wouldn't hate the shot in 150.
We've seen him get hot before.
Yeah.
I'm just really prioritizing the last two games, but putting a 10% min on Gary Trent Jr. is totally fine.
I'm going to go 10% on Chris Murray.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to force some exposure there too. He said, any love for Murphy tonight? I think we both like Trey Murphy, right? I have a 15% min on him. What do you have?
Just a 10% min.
Yeah, so we both forced some exposure. Let me see. I haven't landed on what I'm going to do with Chris Murray yet. I know I'll have at least 15. I mean, I just don't know where ownership's going to be. We'll love to see that update. So I have a 15% min on him now. And then I did put a 70% exposure maximum on Reith. I don't need him to show up in 99% of my lineups anymore, but I'm okay with him being a core play. So that's going to be it for us. If y'all have any more questions, feel free to reach out. But I wish you all luck, and we'll be back on Monday, hopefully with a more consistent schedule if we don't have any more 2-gamers. But December always gets weird. We'll see. All right. Peace out, y'all. Good luck.